What's up, YouTube? This is Paul Friedman from Maine Mountain Media. Today we're going to be talking about Fujifilm Xt3 video rigs. Alright guys, so today we're going to be talking about shooting video with the Xt3 mirrorless camera from Fujifilm. It's the brains behind this entire operation here, and it's an incredible piece of machinery. It's also one of the smallest pieces of the rig. It's just the little body back here, and for those of you who don't know or aren't familiar with the Fujifilm Xt3, there are plenty of other people who do full reviews. Today I'm going to breeze on by the specs and all that. But really impressive video camera, and we have been extremely happy with all of its capability. But because it's a mirrorless camera, there were a few things that we needed to add to the rig to try and make it into a more dynamic video camera. So today I'm going to be talking about all the rest of the apparatus here and how we turned a little mirrorless camera into a professional video setup. So starting with the Fujifilm Xt3, we also I don't love shooting video with focus by wire lenses and all Fujifilm lenses, though the glass is phenomenal and fantastic for photography. For video, not ideal. So we like to run, since we transferred from from Canon to Fuji, and we still shoot a lot of our photography with Canon 5Ds. We still have a ton of our old L series glass and EF mount lenses. So what we have is we have the Fringer EF adapter. So it's the EF to FX Pro adapter from Fringer, and it is so it's a smart adapter, so it allows you to have aperture control, autofocus, and even stabilization running from an EF lens to a Fujifilm camera, which is fantastic. So we've been running those adapters, and then personally I run the Sigma 24-105 Art series lens. It's the f4, it's stabilized, and just an exceptionally good lens. The stabilization is damn near silent and really good. The autofocus is really good, although for video I generally don't run autofocus, but it does have a like a full-time manual override on it, and the dampening on the zoom and the focus knobs are fantastic. So that's what I run. Spencer runs the exact same brain and adapter, but he runs the Canon EF 24-105 f4 stabilized version 1. So basically the same thing, but I just happen to have the Sigma lens. And then the rigs are set up so we can put other lenses on there, but with the crop sensor on a full frame 24-105, we're getting sort of that 35 millimeter to about 150, 160 millimeter, which is just, it's a do everything lens. I mean, very occasionally we'll pop on the Fujifilm 10-24 just to get like a really big wide if we need an establishing shot or something like that. For the most part though, these are the lenses and they are just glued on. So that's where we're at in terms of just the very core of the system. If all else failed, we could tear all of it off and still make great videos with just that setup. So in order to attach all of this crazy stuff to the camera, what we've got is the cage. The cage is made by Small Rig here, and it is specifically designed by Small Rig to fit flush right onto the Fujifilm Xt3. We will be putting links down below to all of these products and items, but it's the Fujifilm Xt3 Small Rig cage, and on the side of it we also have a little cable saver so that the micro HDMI cord doesn't get yanked around, because that's one of the downfalls of the Fujifilm, is that it doesn't have a full-size HDMI out, it's a micro. So having that little cable saver has been a lifesaver. It's a little thing, but it's become a big part of our rig, because without it, those cables really start to wobble and the signal can become weak. So attached to the top of the cage is a Small Rig top handle. You can see it right here. It's just a nice rubber grip to it, and it has a cold shoe right on the top, and it's nicely in center balance, so I can pick up the whole rig just by that one handle, which is really nice if I need to set it down on the ground, or if I want to adjust a piece or a part or hand it off to someone else. Having just like an extra balanced handle on the top is really nice to have. I've really appreciated having that, and Small Rig makes really affordable, so definitely worth having that on the top of my camera. And then now we needed to get the camera onto this whole bottom rail system. So what we got down here is it's a little Arca compatible mount plate with two vertical towers and then a cheese plate on the bottom, and the 2 vertical towers are attached to 90-degree 15mm rod clamps, and that's what attaches the whole camera and lens system to the bottom plate where we attach our tripod plate, and also the rail system. And that piece is made by Camvate. That will again, link down below if you want to check that one out. Pretty affordable piece, and absolutely paramount to the success of the entire rig. It's kind of what holds all of this extra stuff onto this top half. So speaking of the rail system, our rails are 2 12-inch aluminum 15mm standard rods from Small Rig. They are attached to that that riser plate that I was talking about, and then the first piece that we got to attach to it is a lens support. As I talked about, these are full frame lenses that we're putting on here, and they stick a long way out, especially when you add that adapter as well. So having a little support underneath there really helps for stability and just not putting quite as much strain on that FX mount. All right, and then moving out from the camera, after the lens support, the next thing that we have on here is the land part follow focus. This is a really nice piece of equipment. It's basically so that you can, while you're holding your rig in a much more dynamic and smooth fashion, you can run a manual focus on this lens. So because it's a DSLR lens and not a video specific cine lens, it doesn't have the gears built into it, which some or all cine lenses have, but easy solution. Land part even ships with the follow focus a adjustable gear that you can just clamp right around the lens system that you want to use, and then it works smoothly. And also they have built-in hard stops. So for those of you who have shot video or photos for that matter, anybody who's manually focused a DSLR lens knows that they can spin infinitely, and if you were to try and do that while you're shooting video, you'll want to know when you're out at infinity or in at your minimum focus distance. And so you can set these little hard stops so that your focus ring doesn't spin infinitely. It'll stop at your near and far focal max distances. Really nice feature to have. And for those of you who are interested in this particular part, one nice little feature here is the pin that the hard stops bump up against at either end is spring loaded and on a hinge, so you can remove that really quickly if you need to ever, for whatever reason, spin your focus even further than your hard stops. These are adjustable. You just loosen them and then move them to wherever they need to be. So you can set them as A and B hard stops. Like for example, if you ever wanted to do a rack focus, you could set your subject A and your subject B, and then you could rack focus and just nail it with a little more precision than just eyeballing it with a monitor or an eyepiece. So that's really nice to have, but then I think if you were running with A and B hard stops and then all of a sudden you needed to focus out for something else, it's really nice that that little pin can just fold back really quickly and you can keep running it to its full potential. So the next thing, as you've seen, I've been resting this right up on my shoulder. One way to really stabilize a camera is sort of to rest it up on your shoulder. It's a pretty standard procedure. I also sometimes like to rest them like right up against the front of my shoulder or on my chest. I've spent some time doing handheld video for many years, and it is exhausting, and you just never quite get rid of that jittery look. These cameras are small, they're lightweight, which is a pro, but the cons with using a lightweight camera rig is it's really hard to hold a handheld shot steady enough for it to be pleasing to the eye. And so being able to sort of like add your entire body weight to this camera rig is really helpful. So this shoulder pad is made by Small Rig. It's a really nice piece of equipment. The whole top of this pad on the back and front, as well as the entire top, is all threaded with various 1/4-20 and other sized mounts, all the standard size screw holes. So you can attach all kinds of accessories to it in any way that you would want. It's really customizable. As you can see, we've got the rod clamps attached to the front here so that it attaches to the rest of the rig. And on the back, we've got the little battery plate, which is something that we've been messing with where we want it, but it's really nice that they have the threads on the back so you can add some weight to the back of your rig behind your shoulder, and sort of as a bit of a counterbalance, takes a little bit of the weight off your hands and your arms, and makes shooting all day just that much easier. So along with the shoulder pad, as you saw, when you're holding it up on your shoulder, you're gonna need something for your hands to hold on to. And so also from Small Rig, we have the shoulder rig handle grip kit. It comes with 5 different parts. There's the rod clamps with the rosettes on either side, and then there's the small little dog bone shaped arm here that sort of gets your hand out and away. And then we have the rubber handle grips from Small Rig as well that have the rosettes. So everything's super sturdy when they're clamped down, but they are fully adjustable if you ever want your handle to go forward or back, or you can rotate this forward and back. Sometimes what I'll do is I will adjust this handle up so that I have a handle to hold on to, and then I can just make my adjustments on my manual focus with just the thumb while I still have a handle on this grip. But if I'm doing a more stable shot and I'm not going to be adjusting focus much, I'll set my focus where I need it to be, and then I'll have this nice wide grip with most of the weight on my shoulder, and I can get a nice stable shot even if I didn't have a stabilized lens. So another piece that you might notice here, the only thing that is custom made and is homemade is also the least pretty item for obvious reasons, but here I have a custom start-stop button, a record button. I really like the idea of being able to have my rig up on my shoulder and start and stop recording without having to lift my hand off the handle up to here to press the start-stop button and then back down here. Basically just means that the beginning and end of every clip that I make has to have about 1 to 2 seconds of shaky, useless video. And it also means that there's a chance something exciting could happen and I might not be able to start recording in time. It's more about the ease of use for me than, you know, the fear of losing a shot. But like I said, it does mean that I don't have to cut 2 to 3 seconds off the beginning and end of every shot where I'm taking this thing and running my hand up, pressing record, running my hand back down, and shaking the camera in the meantime. So what I've done here is I've custom made this thing. It was under $30. If you guys want us to make a video on how I built this, just leave a comment down below, or even just a quick question we can just describe to you. We will link in the description below the parts that I used, but if you want to see a video on how I did it, I didn't even use a soldering iron. It's a $10 button. I used a little bit of Sugru, which is basically epoxy putty that a lot of people have been using lately. It's heat safe and electrical safe. And then I took the $7 shutter release from Velo, I think is the brand. I'll leave a link below. And I popped the case open, stripped the wires, and attached it, glued it all together, and it works beautifully. It's a new enough piece that I don't know if I can stand behind the longevity of it all. We'll see how it stands up to the test of time, but for now it's been a really nice addition. And one thing that I really like about my design is I've managed to make it attached to the cold shoe, and it can come off. So if ever I decide I don't like it, or if I want to put it on the left side, it is adjustable in that way. And also because it's homemade, I do think for transporting reasons, it's nice it can come off so I can sort of store it away for a little more safety so it doesn't get broken in the car or wherever it might be going. So for anybody who's ever shot video with a mirrorless camera, specifically the Fujifilm X system, you're probably aware that the battery life is one of the weakest points of the entire system. But Fujifilm has solved that problem in 2 different ways. You can either get the battery grip, which I think is a better battery grip than any other company's system because you get to keep the battery in the body and add 2 extras, leaving you a total of 3 batteries when the grip is on, which is really nice, but it adds weight and size and they're expensive. So one thing that we decided to do was we really wanted 1 battery to control the entire unit. So what we went ahead and did is we found these V-mount batteries. They're from Juicebox. We'll leave a link below. They're really nice because they not only have the DTAP power out, but they also have a USB power out, which means that this 1 battery can be plugged via a USB to USB-C into my camera and run the X-T3, and also I can do a DTAP to DC 12 volt, and then that can run my monitor or recorder simultaneously. So 1 battery powers the whole unit, and because it's a kind of a big sturdy battery, I can throw it right on the back of my shoulder pad, use it as a counterweight as well as a power system. It's sort of a 2-in-1 bonus there. They're relatively inexpensive. This particular brand of battery is relatively inexpensive. V-mount batteries can run anywhere from $100 all the way up to $1,000 or more, depending on who you go with and what size you use. We're using the 95 watt hour. I think they're around $150 and well worth it. They have been exceptionally good. And one little side note, I always like to give credit where credit's due. We did have one of these burn out on a shoot one time. And we reached out to customer service and they didn't even hesitate to react in a positive way. They told us, sorry for the inconvenience. They sent us a new one overnight the very next day. So can definitely vouch for their customer service. Again, all things go wrong with equipment, especially, you know, when you're dealing with run and gun video shoots and things like that. They get beat up in the car and so forth. But I love companies with good customer support. So shout out to Juicebox. Thanks for taking care of us. Yeah, so the only other thing to go along with that battery is this little plate. This is a must-have accessory because otherwise your battery's just floating. This is from Camvate. I'll leave a link below. But it's just it's a dummy plate. It's not smart plate because we already had all the outputs built into the battery, so we didn't need to get an additional plate that was smart enough to sort of give us that USB and DC power out. So that attaches to the back of the shoulder mount, and that's how we attach the battery to the rest of the rig. So next thing that you need to add to these cameras, the eye cup and the small LCD screen on the back built into the camera are good for reviewing photos, for framing and composition, and certainly for any photography purpose and some video purposes. But reality, especially if you're trying to work with manual focus, you're gonna want a bigger monitor or a higher quality eyepiece. And so what we opted for was, we went for the Atomos Ninja V. It can record all the specs that we needed and is a nice 5-inch package. The screen is absolutely fantastic. The features built into it are great. And it records directly to SSDs, which we really like. So attaching it to my camera, first and foremost, I have the Pearstone 11-inch arm. It's fully articulating and adjustable. I can sort of like move this around wherever I need it to go. I can have it facing my client or myself if I'm trying to frame up a shot. I can slide it further back for my interview setups so that I don't have to stand so close to the camera and still be able to see what I'm doing. But yeah, Pearstone arm, exceptionally good. I was super hesitant to use something like this. I was really skeptical that it was gonna hold really well. Only had it for a few weeks, but I have secondhand knowledge from other people that they hold up really well to the test of time. I will update you if anything changes in our experience, but so far it feels really sturdy in the hand, and the monitor feels like it's really, really well attached. So I screw that into the front of my hand grip, my top handle that we were talking about earlier, and then I also have the other end of the arm attached to the 1/4-20 screw hole on the top of the monitor, so that way it doesn't get in the way of my follow focus. It's a really nice feature that Atomos gave a top and a bottom mount so that you can have the arm above or below, whatever you prefer. Back to the monitor. So again, I'm powering it through the little power plate that comes included in the box with the recorder, and then the V-mount batteries powering it, and I'm recording everything to these little SSDs. So in here I have the SanDisk 2 terabyte SSD. 2 terabytes is more than we'll ever need for a 1-day shoot, and probably more than we'll ever need for a 2-day shoot, but we do have a few spares with smaller hard drives inside just in case we ever can't dump footage or whatever. The other beauty of these is it is a solid state drive. It's a 2 terabyte drive, and they plug right into the computer and have a read speed as fast as anything. So you can start editing right away. This is all recorded in ProRes 422, and we are Final Cut editors, so that works so well into our workflow that, I mean, we realistically don't even need to import. We can just plug and start going right away with the footage. You can do everything on these things. You can record in log, you can record in 4K 60p at 200 megabits per second, that whole 422 color space, everything 10-bit. Fantastic. So the only thing you can't do internal with the Fujifilm is you can't go 10-bit 422. You can only record 10-bit 420, which if you're trying to do a lot of color grading, that extra little bit of color information will come in handy. And so really, really nice that we got the opportunity to be recording ProRes 422 10-bit. And their file organization system, when you format the drive into the recorder and start going with it, there's no subfolders, there's no It's just like you open the hard drive and they're all right there, right in order. Absolutely love the way that they've laid all that stuff out, and the menu systems on the recorder. I can't even say enough about Atomos. They've done a great job. The only thing that I would complain about is the fan speed, but of course, that's just the nature of the beast. It's nothing Atomos did wrong. They put a relatively quiet fan into it. It's just, the machine runs hot and it's small, so heat dissipation is hard, so it has to run a fan sometimes, which can spill into on-camera audio, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about. We're going to talk about audio really quickly. So on here I've got the Sennheiser MKE600. It is a shotgun microphone. It's an XLR output, so if I want to run it directly into the camera, it requires phantom power, except for this guy does not. It has a built-in AA, which is just fantastic for our purposes. So we absolutely would highly recommend these microphones. They're only about $300, which in the sound world is sort of middle of the road. I know it sounds like a lot of money, but if you're looking for those sort of industry standard high quality mics, you're looking at $1,000 plus, or several thousand depending on what model you're looking for. So this is a really great piece of equipment. We picked this up recently, done a lot of sound checks with it, and I absolutely couldn't recommend it anymore. Really nice because, again, when we do interview setups, we will not be running this indoors. We'll be running the Rode NT5, but outdoors, this is going to be our boom mic, and then we record into the Zoom H4n Pro, and that can run phantom power. So kind of get a chance to save the battery life on these, but again, they're just AA's. We run rechargeable AA's made by Watson, and they've been fantastic, treated us well over the years, so that works really well for us. So the interview setup, like I mentioned just a second ago, we're running a new audio recorder these days. It's the H4n made by Zoom, sorry, the H4n Pro, and it's got 2 XLR inputs, and it can run phantom power. It's really improved our audio game because now what we can be doing is we can be running an on-camera shotgun sort of as a backup just in case, and then we can also be running an overhead boom mic, which I'm running right now. I'm running the Rode NT5 as our overhead indoor dialogue mic. Outdoor dialogue will actually be booming the Sennheiser MKE600 shotgun. And then we can use left channel for one, right channel for the other, and then we can funnel all that audio directly into our recording devices. And so when I pull a file off the Atomos on here, I've got a boom mic, I've got a shotgun mic into the 2 channels that I can run as mono channels, and then I have all of the ProRes 10-bit 422 video, all nice and neat, packaged onto this one ready-to-edit SSD card. So our workflow is really starting to smooth out since we got all those little pieces to add on to it. In terms of the boom, we're running an Impact C-stand with an Auray boom pole holder and an Auray carbon fiber boom pole, and it's been really, really good so far. It's relatively new. I don't know how well it's gonna hold up to the test of time, but it feels really sturdy and really rugged, and I think we're gonna be really happy with that over time. So, all right guys, it's gonna wrap it up for us here today with the Fujifilm Xt3 rig. If you have any questions or comments or concerns or suggestions, please leave them down below. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you wanna see more, click that subscribe button and make sure you click the notifications bell so that next time we post, you can be the first one to watch. If you wanna find out any more on us, make sure you check us out at Maine Mountain Media on Instagram and on Facebook, and we'll see you next time.